Right people, welcome back to the channel. So I recently said I would not spend £1,000, over £1,000 on a phone again, but here I am with an iPhone 17 Pro Max. What is going on? Well, here's the thing guys. So I had an iPhone 14 Pro Max, I've had it basically since launch. It had 72% battery health, and it was a great phone, but obviously the battery health had gotten worse and also had no Apple Intelligence, so I was looking to upgrade. Now the two options I was considering before were the iPhone 17 and the iPhone 16 Pro Max. I bought a refurbished iPhone 16 Pro Max, I bought two of them actually, but the battery health just wasn't as great as I was expecting. I was hoping for 95 plus. I was getting phones with 92%, both had 92%, and a cycle count of 300 plus, so they'd been used for a year, and it wasn't terrible battery health, but still, I was planning to keep this phone for another 3 years, so I wanted a battery that was still relatively new. Then there was the iPhone 17, which obviously I still think is the great value this year. But for me, I do like having the big battery and the big screen. So yeah, basically I got myself the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Now I did trade in my 14 Pro Max, I also had some Apple vouchers, so it did come to $599 out of pocket. Not bad, I mean $599 for a flagship iPhone, I'll take that. And ideally, I wish Apple was selling an iPhone 17 Plus, that would be the ideal phone for me, but hey, I'll take the extra cameras and it does have the new design. So let's take a look at this. I'll be honest, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm not that excited, but if the battery life is truly mind-blowing, then I probably will be amazed, because for me, battery life is the most important feature of any device. Anyway, here we have an iPhone box, wow. So I got silver because obviously with the iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max, there's been these durability concerns. So I was definitely not getting orange or blue. And to be honest, I don't think those colors will age as well, because orange now is the new hype color, but once the iPhone 18 Pro Max comes out with its new flagship color, orange will become dated. So yeah, silver, I think that's going to last, especially as I will be keeping this phone for many, many years. And apologies for any planes in the background. Okay, I've done a lot of waffling. Let's just get into this. So we have the pull tabs. Let's take it off. By the way, base model, because I don't need a lot of storage. I have iCloud, so yeah. Here we go. Ooh. Pull tabs off. They're not as satisfying anymore, are they? Anyway, opening it. Opening the box, sorry. And there we are. iPhone 17 Pro Max. Very good looking phone, I can't lie. Okay, my hype is slowly rising because, wow, the design is really nice. Okay, you know what? Hype is slowly rising. Very good looking phone, this. But I am worried about scratches. Instantly feels lighter than my iPhone 14 Pro Max, which by the way is the heaviest iPhone ever made. The iPhone 18 Pro Max is rumored to beat it, but for the time being it is the most heaviest phone Apple's made. But this, with its round edges and aluminium frame, feels very nice in the hand. Okay, in the box, usual stuff. You get the braided cable, iPhone packaging, SIM ejector tool. Do we need to go through it? I mean, you guys know what an iPhone box has, so let's just get into the phone. Right, here is the device. So first of all, the two-tone finish. I still wish this was the same color as the rest of the body, but it's not bad. It is still a very good looking phone. And we have camera control, power button, volume, action button, Type-C. Actually, this is my first Type-C iPhone. I mean, I've reviewed Type-C iPhones, but I do plan to keep this. So yeah, technically this is my first Type-C iPhone. We got the plateau here and the triple lens cameras. Let's pull this off. Let me bring this. Actually, I was going to bring it close to the mic, but then the framing will be kind of boring. So I'll do it here. There we go. First peel. Wow. What a phone. Okay, I see some dust. Okay, that dust is not... That dust's not going... Anyway, small dust particle, but I'll clean that later. Let me power this on. Yeah, the design is really comfy. And I'm sorry, but the Pro Max just feels right. I know my iPhone 17 unboxing and even my review, I did say that phone felt quite nice, but long term, I do kind of miss the big screen, and so I'm glad to stay on a Pro Max. And there we go, iOS 26. Okay, should I do the setup on screen or should I do it off screen? I'm thinking You know what? I'm gonna do the setup off screen because it's just easier that way. And then I'll show you guys around the device. I mean, you know how an iPhone 17 Pro Max behaves, but I'll show you my first impressions. So yeah, let me set this up and then I'll get back to you guys. Right, so new phone has finally been set up. It's restoring things in the background, of course. So there's not much I can show you guys, but I will say first impressions, this size and this body just feels right. I am loving the much rounder chassis of this compared to my 14 Pro Max. If you know the 14 Pro Max, and saying this to iPhones in general, they have very sharp edges, and so it's not very comfortable to use. This though, it fits amazingly well. Obviously I will use a case because I am not going to be going naked with such a fragile frame like aluminium, but yeah, so far it feels great. I am looking forward to testing the battery life, as I said. I'm also looking forward to testing the cameras, the new 4X and 8X optical crop. That's quite exciting. I'm going to a football match in like 2 months, so I can test it then, but I will do some preliminary testing before that as well. And yeah, there's not much for me to say. I think I might add another portion to this video showing you guys my, well, not showing, but telling you guys my thoughts after a few hours or few days of use. Right, so here are my first impressions of the iPhone 17 Pro Max after about 2-ish days as my daily driver. And quick one before we get into it, if you enjoy this kind of honest Apple coverage, make sure you're subscribed. Nearly 90% of you guys aren't, and subscribing genuinely helps the channel out. So yeah, if you watched my unboxing, I did sound a bit depressed, and that's because I kinda low-key was. You see, I'll be honest, I didn't want to spend this much money on a new phone. After using the 14 Pro Max for 3 years, the longest I've ever kept an iPhone, I really wasn't excited about buying another Pro iPhone, but I'm also in a position where I kinda sorta have to. Very much a first world problem, I know. You see, I'm a power user, my phone is basically glued to me, and battery life matters more than almost anything else. That means realistically, the 17 Pro Max was my only option this year. My ideal iPhone would have been a 17 Plus, big screen, big battery, the same upgrades as the base 17, an $899 iPhone with this size and battery, I'd have been all over that. But Apple didn't make it. Apple's very happy I paid $1,200 and here we are. Now, early days, but first impressions, I really like the rounder chassis. It fits so nice in the hands, and the fact it's lighter than my 14 Pro Max is immediately appreciated. I also don't hate the two-tone finish after using it, which surprised me. It didn't look as great in the press material, but now interacting with this phone in person, yeah, I kind of like the two-tone finish. That said, I do worry about durability, which is exactly why I've already slapped a case on this that protects the camera plateau, because I'm not that brave. I did expect cellular speeds to be noticeably better like many reviews had mentioned, but that's not been the case for me so far, though of course I've only had it for 2 days. The speakers are genuinely excellent, noticeably fuller, and while I'm still letting the battery settle, so I won't judge that yet, I'm genuinely curious about how it holds up when I do FaceTime calls, because that usually destroys the battery in my experience. Camera control has actually been quite useful for opening the camera quickly, though I haven't used the swipe features, and the 4X telephoto with the 8X crop is properly impressive. Having said that, if the 17 Plus had existed, I could have lived without it. The new selfie camera is amazing though, and it's partly why I didn't want to settle for a refurbished 16 Pro Max, because I do many video calls and the center stage camera actually makes a big difference. I will be posting a proper review soon once everything's settled, so if you want to see how this thing holds up long term, hit subscribe and yes, press the hype button as well. It really helps a small channel like mine, and it tells YouTube this video is worth showing to more people. Thanks for watching.